Okay, family, welcome back. Welcome back. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about my childhood, certain events that happened in my childhood, and I believe it may help paint a picture into how I got into certain things that ruined my life, shall I say? And yeah, and then following from this, some of the videos I'll do later on in the future would be about my teenage life and then sort of my uni life and then post uni life, sort of young adult life and then motherhood. So it's going to be like a swift journey. So that's how the segments are going to be looking like. Before we get into all of that, I have launched membership. Um, right now it's vague, it's fresh, it's new. So if you guys can drop stuff in the comment, like if you were to pay to be a member on this channel, what's the kind of stuff you would want? I thought instead of me cracking my brain to be like, oh, what can I offer? What can I do? I'm like, I might as well ask you guys because it'll be you who be paying. So it'll be best I give you what you want within reason. So I thought I'll put that out there. Big up to people who have signed up. I'm going to do a shout out and also my super thanks. Thank you. Okay, so let's get straight into this. So, my family, yeah, consists of my mum, my dad. I've got an older sister, older brother, an older sister. Then comes me. Then I have a younger brother. Then I have a younger sister. Then I have our last born, our younger sister. Now, from what I heard and what I can recall, after I was born, my mum had the two that come after me. Three come after me, but I'm talking about the two that came after me. My mum, the gap between them was small. So obviously it was a lot for my mum, for my parents. It was a lot for them. So the sister that comes just above me, um, she had to help my mum a lot. And I know I've seen that theme on the internet of like the parentalization of like black girls and stuff like that. Cutting a long story short, like basically my sister had to pull up her boots and help my mum with the two new siblings that had come after me. You're probably wondering, what about your two older siblings? They were my half siblings, and so they were living abroad, and then they came and came to this country much later on. So at that time, it was just the one older sister I have above me, the two little younger ones underneath me. So because of that, my sister was engaged in that. Um, Obviously, I'm young, so I can't really pinpoint, but I don't really have a lot of memories of me and my older sister really like playing and having that sort of childhood young sister thing. Do you get what I'm saying? And it was probably because she was caught up in that. Same with my mum as well. Don't really have memories of like me and my mum when I was young and that. I do have memories of her coming back home and then showing me something she's bought for me, like a top or a trousers, or she would have bought some chocolate or some peanut thing and she'll break it and give it to us. I do remember those, and those times were nice. So because of that, I was kind of like in the middle in no man's land. Luckily, I had an auntie who lived like a 5 minute walk from our house, and my cousins were there too. So I was basically always there because one of my cousins was my age group and she was a girl. So it was ideal. She's like my sister, in it. Um, because you get me, I'm a bit too young. I can't really help. I haven't really been given a role and I'm just kind of swimming in the middle. So to kind of get out the way, I guess, I don't think I saw it that way. I just thought like, well, it's my opportunity. Let me go and play with my friend. I would go over there. And so I think it kind of built me up to be more of like a street kid compared to my other siblings. Like my other siblings, they'll be more at home, they're more, me, chill, whatever. But from young, I've always been up and out, up and out, up and out, because that's basically kind of like what all I kind of known. So yeah, it kind of made me a street kid. Because obviously, yes, I will go to my cousin's house, but when we get there, we would then go out and play out. You understand? So that's where the streetism kind of came into it more. And my parents, like my dad's a pastor, And I'm going to get into my dad specifically after this. Whereas my auntie, you get me, she was a little bit more liberal, I would say, and she's funny, light-hearted, bubbly. So her house had a different energy, had a different atmosphere. So I loved being there. Like, it was just fun. And I really thank God for that family, my auntie, my cousins there. Like, when I sit back and I think, like, I don't even know what my life would have been like without them. That's just the gospel truth, you know. They mean a lot to me. That's another story for another day. I need to stop saying that because I ended up having to go through all these other videos to find out, mark all the times where I said, oh, that's a story for another day, so I can remember to mention it. And now I've gone and done it again. But what I would say is, when I went through all of those things, I've made a note of them. And to be honest, a lot of those stories, they're coming up in the series that I've just mentioned to you: teenage life, uni life, all that. They will be in there. So that's cool. So, um, anxiety. Looking back, I think from a young age, I had a bit of anxiety there. I think quite a lot of children do, because they basically don't really have a lot of control over their life. They count on adults so much for the practical things, for emotional things too. And so you're always on edge. You're always trying to do what you got to do to get what you need to get. So I think that's kind of built in childhood anyway. But I would say mine, yeah, might have been a little bit amped up. And I say that because my dad was strict, like, I'll just put it out there. And when I had a chat with my dad and I asked him about his dad, he said the same thing. He's like, yeah, my dad was a disciplinary and all that. I'm going to talk about that, my pronunciation issues and stuff like that, because that's going to come up in another video. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, it makes sense. You know what I mean? And guys, like, to the point that, yeah, I remember I used to come back home from school, whatever, be having a blast of the time with my siblings, doing our thing, whatever. By this time, the younger two are a bit older, so it's all, everything's a bit balancing out. So we're all playing together now. Now, me, my sister, my two siblings, you get me, we're all engaged. And then maybe like 6, 7 o'clock will come, and then I hear the door going, my dad's back. And I just used to have this dread and this fear just would go through my body. I'll be like, oh no, that my world's over. And it's funny because it used to hit me as if it's never happened yesterday. Like, it would hit me every day fresh and new. Like, I would be so happy, so engaged. No, I wouldn't even clock. And then when I hear that at the door, my heart would just drop. Now you're wondering why. Like, now this is why in my world, yeah, my dad, oh, okay, a lot of you, if you're African, you know what I'm about to say. My dad used to teach me, and he used to basically just like shout at me, scream at me if I wasn't really understanding what he was saying. Now that's cool, that's one thing. But the thing is, my dad is very much into education. So meaning we were learning almost every day. You get me? So you got a dad who, he's brutal with you and he's teaching you, but it's here and there. But if you've got a dad who's brutal when he's teaching you, but he's also into education, so he's teaching you a lot, you're going through that brutalization a lot. So that brutalization is crippling me at this moment. Like, I'm losing self-belief completely. I'm just on edge consistently. Like, I'm detached from my dad. You get me? Because you need to be attached to your dad. You need a bond. But I'm like, I can't be. It was just not good. Obviously, you're too young to even understand, let alone to express, let alone to be brave enough to share it with your parents. You get me? Like, I'm proper young. Like, I'm under 10 years old. You understand? So that was a very, very tough season in my life. Like, every day was just like, oh. And that's why I loved also being at my aunties, and that's why they've got such a big impact in my life, and they helped me so much because I had a safe space there. You understand? I had a safe space there. So, and to be honest, I think they helped my parents too. It was like, oh, one more child out. You get what I'm saying? Who is not lost, or we don't know where she is. At least we know she's at a safe family member's house. You get me? So all of that. So whatever. That comes to talk of, I guess, family planning and the importance of understanding numbers and what you're getting into and how you're gonna stretch yourself across the workloads. Yeah. So, guys, I was a child who wet the bed. And that's what I'm saying when I talk about the level of my anxiety. I'm not saying every child who wets the bed is got anxiety, but all I'm gonna say is talk for myself. We all know what anxiety is about, what it can be about, nervousness and all that. So if you put the twos together, I know there's a big correlation with that. So guys, I used to wet the bed regularly. My parents were up and down in the hospitals being like, yo, can you help my daughter? What's going on? They tried all sorts of things for me. They even got had me sleeping on some mattress that the moment I wee, an alarm will go off, like once it picks up a drop, to wake me up, and then I'll be like, okay, boom, and then I can empty the rest out, the urine in like the toilet. Tried all sorts of different things. Do you know what it came to at the end? They ended up having to give me a pill, which I believe was to do with like depression or stress, anxiety, or whatever, like some sort of sleeping pill, something to do with them type of things. And like, I'm a child, do you understand? So it's just showing you the depth. And to be honest, guys, it worked. I slept like nothing before, and I never wet the bed when I was on the tablets, because I was young and because of what they were, they couldn't keep me on it. I think my parents got so desperate, the doctors got so desperate, they thought, okay, just to give a bit of a break, let's give her this and see. So they did, but they couldn't keep me on it. So unfortunately, or fortunately should I say, because it's not good for me to be on that, that got taken away. So, you know, back into the saga. And my mum is a lovely woman, beautiful woman, etc. But I remember one time she just was so pissed off, and like she flipped out on me. She was just like, ah, you get me? And then my dad was like, yo, calm down. It's not her fault. She's a child, blah, blah, blah. And I remember that moment so well, because that was the first time, like, I saw my dad, not that he never stood up for me or whatever, but remember, my main picture of him is that he's a scary guy and I just want to be away from him. But at that moment, is like, I saw that side of him where he stood up for me, he defended me, and he's like, he almost understood me. He was like, nah, like, take it easy, blah, blah, blah. It was a very, very touching moment. It was touching because I saw the effect that my situation was having on my mum. And I knew that it was affecting her because of the way she moved that time. I had never seen her move like that before. So I knew it was tough for her. And it was tough in the sense that she's got these children already that she's taking care of. And every time I'm wet in the bed, she's got extra laundry to do. So this is not just, oh, you've wet the bed, okay, go about your business. No, there's like after effects of this, more load, just more, just more. So that was a very emotional moment, because I remember it was like in the middle of the night or something, I don't know, or early in the morning. And it was just not, it was just a dramatic scene. So, um, yeah, so that's kind of all that in regards to, like, you know, anxiety and kind of what I was dealing with in that sense. So, like I said, my dad with education and all that. So another thing that kind of chipped at me was, um, at that time in my childhood, because I was so afraid of education and learning, it affected me when it came to learning. So I ended up having to get extra support at school, because basically my brain was just too fried and I couldn't take things in. And I remember, like, every, not a lot, but one or two times when my dad was a bit on the edge, he would kind of make a comparison between me and some and other people in my age group, and that really broke my heart. Like, obviously, because I still remember it till today, and I just used to be like, you know, and it almost kind of affected my relationship with those people when I saw them, because I basically used to think that my own dad likes you more than he likes me, or you make my dad happier than I do. You know, them type of thoughts that I need to take a moment. I'm getting emotional. I can't. Getting emotional. I don't cry a lot, but All right. All right. I remember, yeah, being in school and like, oh, that's it. That's what I wanted to say. So there was times where obviously this bedwetting thing's becoming an issue for me, it's becoming an issue for my parents and stuff. So I was like, I need to take the matter into my own hands. So I used to sometimes wake up early and try and like, if I've realised I've wet the bed, I'll be like, oh, days. So I'll take off the bed sheets, try hide it. No, not take off the bed sheets because I know I want to clock that, but I'll try to do some hiding, some ism and schisms and putting things away, that. And then I would like change my clothes and that, and you're getting up early, rushing for school. So by the time my mum would have clocked, I would have already been out the door. You know what I'm saying? By the time she's clocked what I've hidden, whatever. But what was happening was because obviously my mum didn't know that I had weed on myself, and I'm trying to hide it. I wasn't cleaning myself. You get me? I wasn't. Usually she would have made me put me in the bath, or whatever, have a shower, but I wasn't cleaning myself. So there was times where I was going to school and I was starting to smell. I could smell that raw smell, that piss. You understand? Obviously everyone's young, so it's not really too much of a thing. No one's like too much clocking it. But I remember one time there was another guy, yeah, who was starting to smell like me. And in my head, I didn't say nothing to him, but I was like, oh, yeah, I know what you do, bro. You piss that bed as well. You get me? Like, it was sort of, if you know, you know. And he had his troubles and he had difficulties as well. And it makes sense. Like, now I look back, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not even going to talk anymore about that because it could easily become identifiable. So I'll leave it as that. But another thing that had a big impact on me, guys, right? And this is important. Like talking of is ironic because my hair's like this, but basically, us youngins, especially back then, our mums were like putting extensions in our hair and all this, and they relax our hair and all these type of things. So my mum relaxes my sister's hair, everything's fine. She relaxed my other sister's hair, everything's fine. But then she went and relaxed my hair and it was not fine. My hair started falling out. I had patches everywhere. It was bad. It was wild. And it's just, I don't know what my mum was thinking. I don't know. But basically she ended up shaving off all my hair. So that it can really start. What I mean, I don't know what my mum was thinking. I don't know if she was looking at it thinking, I can't plait this or whatever. I don't know what the issue was that made her say, let's just chop it all off. But she said, let's just chop it all off so we can start all over again. So obviously, having your hair chopped off is just like you start getting prone to bullying at this point, which I don't remember being heavily bullied, but to say that I didn't get no remarks and all that is a lie. Like definitely people were a bit like, raw, do you get what I mean? So that wasn't easy. That was tough. In fact, that was very tough. I'm downplaying it. I think though that's probably one of those things that my brain has suppressed because I do remember it being tough actually. I do, but I don't need to go any deeper into that. Like it just is what it is, Um so I say all that to say shortly after all that, yeah, I started going into that's where I think the defiance started. And I started becoming a bit fearless and I was a bit more defiant, you know what I'm saying? That I remember a time where my primary school was going to Fort Park and for some reason my dad was like, no, you can't go. Which was a shock to me because most trips I go, and I think that's why I think we had gone to one not long ago, but they were trying to fit in some another summer one, and my dad's just like, "Yo, you get me? Like, no, blah blah blah." But I was like, "Look, like everyone's going." Plus, I love theme parks. I don't even care if everyone's going or not. I love theme parks. Like, that's my thing. You understand? That's where I get my little extra rush from. So my dad saying no to me wasn't going down well. Guys, you know what I did? I got first, I got into my dad's wallet slowly and I robbed my dad basically. I'm not gonna make it sound sweet. It must have been like 20 quid. I can't remember, but I've robbed my dad 20 quid. Then I've gone and got the consent form and I forged his signature. I'm like 9 years old, 10 years old. Cut it, when they tell you cut the dotted lines, cut it, folded up the 20 quid, boom, gave it to my teacher. Guys, I ended up getting on that coach and going to Fort Park, enjoying my life in Fort Park. It's only until we were coming back that I was like, but like I said, I was fearless and my brain was a bit. So I don't think I even really deep the extent. I think if I did, I guess I wouldn't have even attempted it. So even when we were coming back, I wasn't even that nervous. I was just like, oh, it's done now. And maybe my dad would just be like, whatever. Obviously, what happened was the people coming back from Fort Park were coming back a little bit later than the people at school. So I think my parents have gone to school to pick me up thinking I'm there, only to find out the teachers are like, oh no, mate, she's on the list. She's in Fort Park, mate. You're gonna have to come back later. And so you can imagine, like, my dad was just like, yo, this girl. Cutting a long story short, all I'm gonna say is, my auntie that I said lived not too far from me, that I used to go to her house a lot. She basically had to hide me. She hid me in my bedroom. She went upstairs and she basically had to beg my dad to have mercy on my life. Like, she was up there for a while. And I was just in my bedroom, like, waiting for the verdict. And then she came back down and she was like, it's cool. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, it's cool. Just go upstairs and say sorry. And I was like, I'm even shook to do that. She was like, it's cool. Go upstairs and say sorry. So I did the walk of death. When my dad barely looked at me, he was like, no, sorry, Dad. And kind of that was it. But when I look back, that was an extreme move, man. Like, I was losing my marbles. I started losing my marbles from early, like, to be that age and rob my dad, forge a signature, travel hours away. And I look back and I just think, yo. So that was the beginning of many. I forgot this one, but my brother reminded me of this. He obviously didn't forget. Apparently, one time, my parents had gone to church or whatever for like a weekday service. And apparently, I said to my brother, come, let's go. A few hours later, I must have said, come, let's go. So what happened was we got dressed or whatever, and I walked with my brother. So just to give you an example, at that age, once again, we would have been 7, 8 years old. My brother is 2 years younger than me. Yeah, so we're little children. And we've done, like, I would have said it would, with our small legs, it would have taken us about an hour walk. So you can imagine, you get me? We walked an hour through the busy streets, crossing road, did it. Like, I was just doing mad things. Like, I just did whatever I thought was okay, which obviously my compass measurement of what is okay sometimes failed me. So apparently, which this bit I do remember. I don't remember the trekking, the walking, but this bit I do remember. We got there, knocked on the door. My dad's opened it, and he just looked at us like he has never been shocked to see his own children. Like, my dad was like, "What?" Because obviously, as an adult, he knows what that means to leave your child there and see them here. He was like, "Yo, this girl's becoming unbelievable." You get me? So that was funny. And the thing is, guys, see, this is how children think. I was doing that trek thinking my parents will be proud that we've made the effort to come to church on our own. But they obviously were like, what's going on? You get me? So sometimes, like, with children, you got to spell it out because it's just long. Now, guys, I think in episode 8 or 9 of the 10 ways I ruined my life, I spoke about a time where I ate McDonald's or something and I felt like it made me more prone to switching and expressing anger as it within a certain incident. And I told you I'll talk about McDonald's and diet and stuff like that. So it brings me to this point. Sweets and sugar. I started developing like a wild addiction to that. I know children like sweets and stuff, but for me, sweets was like my comfort food through my anxiety and everything I was going through, to the point where I was either robbing money to go and buy sweets or I was robbing the sweets myself. Once again, I'm a child. You get me? If I didn't have the money for the sweets, I was going into them shops and I was coming out with sweets, and I wasn't gentle about it. I'm pretty sure the shopkeeper maybe did notice, but he noticed other things about me. He thought, maybe that this girl, she looks a bit troubled or whatever, so I'm just gonna act like I can't see and leave her, or I don't know what it was, because it wasn't a big shop, so I don't know how I was able to be getting in and out, but it wasn't that regular. I wouldn't say I was stealing regular. I was stealing regular, but I was stealing money regular to buy the sweets. I wasn't stealing the sweets more regularly, if that makes sense. Looking back again, that's yeah, semi wild. That's not good behavior. Um, oh, that reminds me of another memory. I'll jot that down. Another theft incident later on in life. Actually, I forgot about that. All right, I'm definitely gonna jot that down. So in regards to this fearlessness, right? Where I was living, the estate that we were living in, there used to be this man there, and as children, you create some story. So they used to create this story of, oh, you know that loner man who lives there who looks a bit weird, like, just to cut a long story short, we used to say stuff like he's the boogeyman, or if he catches you and this and that, and them type of stories. He done this, he done that. I never used to say them stories. That just kind of wasn't really my thing. But I did hear something like that. So one time we were all playing in the corridor, and then boom, he pops up and he's walking towards us. Now, because of the stories that everybody's saying, everyone dots off, everyone blurts, everyone runs, everyone jets. The boogeyman's coming, and they run. So obviously I've just stood there and I'm looking at him. So he's come to me and he's like, basically, I'm struggling, I broke whatever. I need oil and rice. Would you be able to help me? And I'm like, you know what? Follow me. So I take him to my yard. And I knock the door. Doot, 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 doot. My mum comes and she opens the door. Now you can imagine my mum's face. She's like, this girl, this man, what's going on? Like, because remember, he's looking rough. He's not looking good. So my mum's a bit like, you get me? And I'm like, oh, you're right, mom. You're right, mom. He said that he needs oil and rice. My mum's like, okay. So my mum calls my dad downstairs. She's like, whatever. So my dad comes down. And then I was like, oh, right. Mum says, yeah, like, well, my girls come with this man. And he said, oil and rice. So my dad's kind of obviously scoped us, whatever. And then my dad's like, all right, cool. And he invites the man into a house. And then boom, I run off and go back to play. That's another story for another day. What kind of happened after that from that story? Because that's a big story still. So I'm just painting a picture of kind of, the kind of things that I was on. um, Another thing, yeah, that used to make my anxiety a bit heightened, yeah. Obviously, I grew up in a Pentecostal church. So if you know, you know. Now, in a Pentecostal church, at times when the Holy Spirit is coming upon somebody, they can what they call manifest, yeah? Some people may not call it manifestation. Sorry, guys, I keep going. Bear with me a moment. Let me get some tissue, man. All right, sorry about that. So, yeah, they can, what you do, what they call it, manifestation. Some people, not everybody may call it manifestation, but I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes it's like they're moving in the spirit, almost like they've lost control of their bodies. Some people fall on the floor, roll on the floor, make noises, stuff like that. So as a child, witnessing that at church used to frighten me. I didn't like it. I was just like, what is going on? Especially when they were making noise or people had to hold them. And it was just like, whoa, you get me? No one's really explaining that side to you because you're a child. They think you're not going to understand, so they don't explain anything to you. They don't even really give you a fake version of it or like a watered down, like give us something to know what's going on. You get me? Just after a while, got to work it out yourself. But I thought I'd push that out there because I know a lot of people, whatever, Black, African, Caribbean, or whatever, growing up in a Pentecostal church, we've witnessed that. And some of us probably haven't really clocked how it did make us feel when we were young. Maybe some people weren't bothered by it, but for me, I noticed that it did kind of have a little effect on me. I remember a time, yeah, by this time my hair's chopped to low, I ain't got no hair. And so I'm in a dark place. And I have this nightmare, right? And what happens is there's a church building, which is the church building that my dad's church was using at the time. And the devil was in the church building and he was bringing in instruments into the church building. So he's stacking the church building with instruments, but then it's the place is starting to get full. And what's happening is the church building is my head. So though I can see the church building, my head is the church building. So as the devil's filling up the church building with instruments and it's getting packed, my head starting to feel tight, starting to feel like it's going to explode, and basically explodes. So that was not a good dream. So obviously I've woken up like, frightened. But guys, when I wake up, my neck's like that, stuck. Obviously, I must have been in a bad position or whatever. I know people sleep on their necks. Guys, my neck was like that for a week. Not like this, not like this, not like this. Not for free, for a week. Like that. I was walking around like that. My head's already chopped off. Now I've got a bent up neck. So I was already getting remarks and attention because of my hair. So now when I've gone into church, because I think the next day we were going to church, you're coming in like that now. It was just, I was just like, oh. It was a lot. I can't lie. It was a lot. Another thing in regards to dreams in childhood, right? I used to have. I hope this doesn't. I gotta be careful how I word this because I don't want any like age restriction business going on. But like, as a child, I basically used to kind of like have these sex dreams, so to speak, which was so weird. And I know children do. I think from like the age 7, 8, sexuality, sex, and stuff like that start coming up into their world. If you're from where I'm from, your parents don't talk to you about sex ever, ever, ever. Married, even when you push out a child, that conversation about outright sex doesn't happen. So definitely ain't happening around 7, 8, 9. So I'm just putting it out there. Prepare yourself for that, to have conversations with your children about sex much earlier, yeah, than what we were given. And I mean, I don't really need to go into much details, but yeah, I think I'll stop there, to be honest. Maybe I'll bring it up later once I've thought about it properly so I can word it properly, because I don't want any issues with YouTube and then I've got to edit stuff and re-upload. Obviously, like you guys saw that happen with part 9, so I just put that out there. But that takes me into this other point where I don't want to. I did share this story on Backtrack actually, but it wasn't outright Backtrack. It was the Backtrack where we went to Cyprus. And without saying too much details, there was a time where I was once again under the age of 10, and I was sitting down in a corridor waiting, and this older guy, he's like a caretaker in this estate that I'm talking about, but he's also a caretaker in this building. So he's bopping around and he's come across me sitting there. So he sits down by me and I'm a bit like, because he's already sitting way too close. But I'm a little girl, so I'm just like, whatever. And I can't remember what he was saying to me. Like, obviously, I could smell that this isn't good, This right here now is not good. So I've gone into like a certain mode, so I can't really remember what he was saying to me. And then, guys, this guy comes, leans over with his disgusting, sloppy mouth and starts to kiss me. Yes, you heard me. And I just froze. What is going on? This guy. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. And then I guess he got up and left, and like I'm just there, like, what the hell? And that was my first experience of SA. That's what they say, isn't it? To abbreviate it. And I did not talk about that ever. I was just in utter shock. But I remember another girl around my age making a little comment, and she said something like, I think we saw him somewhere with, and she kind of made a little comment like, oh yeah, he touched my bum. So in my head, I was like, oh, you get what I mean? Like, this guy's been moving around the estate and he's been fondling little girls, you get me? So, I'm not trying to put no fear in nobody, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Like, just watch what you gotta watch. You know what I'm saying. Watch your children, and there's vultures out there. So yeah, that wasn't a good experience at all. Because later on in life, I started getting more of like flashbacks about that and all them type of things. So I know that weren't good. Um, okay, all right. Sorry, guys. You know how this content can do you sometimes. So I'll feel myself like going. So let me just perk up again. We're rounding up. We're rounding up. Yeah. So, guys, times come. My family's like, yo, we're moving out this estate. We're moving out the ends. We're gonna go this way. So that was a big change for me. That was a big change, like utter change. Like, it was just an utter change. It was good. It was refreshing. It was clean. It was bright. But the bit that I really felt it was when I had to go to a new school. So I got moved to a new primary school when I was in year 6. So I just had one more year left to go at my old primary school where my people them are at, and I know it best, you understand? Now I'm doing this final year in this new school. Already education and all that is a touchy place for me. So to be getting moved and then having to readjust. And I use the word readjust because we kind of moved to a better area, so to speak. So the children there, like, I'm seeing a lot more white children. Where I was, black on black, there was like one Chinese boy, one Turkish boy. You understand? But the rest, black upon black. Now I'm in this classroom. Everything's different. Teachers different. Children different. And that kind of, yeah, like, identity issues just went. Boop. I didn't even know they were a thing till I got there. I used to sit down and daydream about looking like this girl and having this girl's hair and having because I was just looking at myself like I'm not good enough. Like, all these people look better than me and all these type of things. And it got to a level where I started wanting to show off. So I remember like robbing my oldest sister of some of her clothes, some of her boots and stuff, just to wear it to school so that I have something. So people be like, "Ooh, what's that?" And one time I went and robbed the boots, proper brown boots, that had nothing to do with the school uniform. The school uniforms had green, black, white. You're not supposed to be wearing brown boots to school. I didn't care. I was that desperate. I put on brown boots. Got to school, the teachers were like, what the hell? So I lied to them. I said, oh, something up in my shoes, so I had to quickly wear it. They were like, you need to sort that out by tomorrow because you cannot be bopping around. And these boots are not up to your ankle, they're up to your knee. You get what I'm saying? They were like, what's going on with this girl? And I was even going on with her parents. How did she, of all the other substitute shoes she could have worn, this is what the parents, obviously I'm in year 6, so I can walk myself to school, you understand? And I think I was doing sniper stuff. I think I hid the boots outside, them weird stuff. So when you say bye to your parents and then quickly put them on, I don't know what it was. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And then, guys, obviously school's a wild place, so something happened and something happened to the boots. Oh, got back in. Obviously, my sister's in like college or something like that. So obviously, I get back before her. So obviously, I've tried to pattern it, tuck them away, act like I never took them. But obviously, at times come, she's pulled it out. She's seen the damage. She was not happy. She was like, So it was getting to a point that it's even affecting my relationships because you get me. I'm taking things just to try and get attention to feel better. It was a dark episode. That was a dark episode. I can't lie. That was a dark episode. But one thing I want to say to end on a high note, yeah, before I leave, guys, my anxiety and all that was still popping. So a time came, I think either I was in year 7 or I was about to start year 7. I can't remember, but I'm older now, 11, 12. I'm in the bath and I'm talking to God again. I'm finding myself talking to God again. I said, God, I can't keep wetting the bed. Like, I'm a big girl. I'm in secondary school now. Like, these people can't hear that. Nothing can happen that these people have heard that I'm pissing the bed or I'm finished. Like, this, I've had enough. Like, this needs to stop. I can't, nobody can help me. I've been in and out of the hospitals. I'm not getting the help I need. Nothing, no, you get me? You know what I do, guys? Because I'm in the bath. You know, some people have showers, some people have like bubble baths. If you're black, African, Caribbean, whatever, maybe other people do it too. Our parents have a bucket in the bath where you collect the water in, you take care of yourself, and then you throw water on, you rinse yourself. So this bucket is there, and I filled it up with water. I put my hand in it. I don't know if you guys used to do it when you go twirly, and then you turn the bowl of water into like a tornado. If you know, you know. Like, put it in the comments. You go with your arm till it turns into like a tornado type of effect. So, guys, I did that with the water. Twisted it. And as I was twisting it, I started talking over the water. I was like, I'm never going to piss the bed ever again. I'm done. Like, I'm setting myself free from this. Like, this has got to stop. Like, I've got power over my life. Like, and today I'm saying it because I think I must have heard it in passing, one preaching or on the radio, someone talking about the power of words or something like that. So I was like, that's what I was putting into practice because I've got nothing to lose. So I did that, almost like prayed over the water, spoke words of life into the water with the tornado effect. Then I picked up the bucket, dashed it over myself. I promise you, not since that day, I have never, ever pissed the bed a drop since that day. I promise you, never. I was like, but I never doubted it. There was no room for doubt. When you're desperate, and you need that thing to work, doubt vanishes automatically. So if you got something that you think, oh, I want this, but you still got a bit of doubt, you probably don't want it that much. Or you probably fear actually getting it. You think you want it, but maybe deep down you don't. But when you're desperate and you really want that thing and you need whatever you've done to work, you do not doubt it. And basically that was me. I said, no, I can't afford to. I'm in secondary school now. These are brute. I'm back with the, I don't was gonna say I'm back with the blacks, but I'm back with them. You get me? They don't play. I can't be going there smelling and no. Okay, sorry about that, family. So I'm going to leave you on that note. That's just a brief overview of my childhood. And the next video should be the things I did as a teenager. So yeah, looking for that. Lots of love. Thank you once again for joining me. Much appreciated. Take care.